we stopped for a break after a few hours on the road on our return trip, we learned that the spare tire for Tally had broken from the mount somewhere in the past 30 miles. So we turned around to retrace our drive, and we found the cover, but we also found the spare gas can within about a 3/4 mile distance from one another. However, there was no luck finding the tire, and we thought, well, surely with both of those items pretty obvious on the road, the one person who had passed us might have picked it up and brought it to the campground. So we drove all the way back to McCarthy to see if we could find that person, and indeed George did find him, but unfortunately he hadn't seen our tire. So we went all the way back to our boondocking spot. We dropped the trailer, we left the dogs inside, and we went searching on foot. And it was pretty grueling hot out. The sun was just beating down on us. There was dust and roots and hidden bogs and brush. And we gave it a good hour to 2 hours of searching before we gave up. Went back to the trailer, spent the night, thought we'll be fresh in the morning, it'll be cooler, but we had no success that day either. In fact, the only thing we found were a bunch of bunnies, a lovely little grouse, and a coyote that just kept following either George or me. So we stopped at the ranger station in Chitna, which has a population of like 125. And I asked the ranger if she knew anything about tire places in Valdez so we could replace our spare. She said, well, Joshua might be able to help you. She reached down and she picked up the phone and she called Joshua Boone, who is a true descendant of Daniel Boone. Anyway, Josh met us in front of the old Chitna Emporium, and he looked at our tire and Tally and he said, I might have something that works. So he directed us to his house, saying, look for Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay, we figured it out when we got there. Happily, he pulled out a tire that would work for us just fine, and we were out of there $65 short later, but happy as could be. Since we now had another spare tire for Tally, we felt comfortable continuing on to Valdez as we had originally planned. The drive-in was absolutely beautiful. We did have about a 20-minute delay for road construction, and at the time the person who was stopping traffic told us there would be enough time to take the dogs out of the car. So we ended up going down to the Lower River, and they got a quick dip while we waited for the traffic to once again start up. Because we were coming up on the 4th of July weekend, we only managed to get 2 nights booked at an RV park in town. We knew that this would be the case and that most everybody had reservations months in advance of the 4th of July weekend, but we were willing to take our chances. We ended up moving out to a beautiful boondocking spot just past Thompson Pass. It was an expansive gravel pit area, and there were a few other boondockers there as well. But it was lovely, it was private, and it felt safe to us. We managed to spend 3 nights there before we moved back into town because it got too darn hot. During this time, we were experiencing all-time high temperatures in Valdez. We were always glad we weren't too far from a glacial lake or a river, as a good way to cool down for a bit.